You get one walkthrough before the biggest purchase of your life. 30 minutes inside a house that has been cleaned, staged, and painted to make you fall in love. The agent will point at the countertops. The seller will light a candle in the kitchen. Nobody in that room is going to show you the ceiling stain hiding under fresh paint, or the gray pipe above the water heater that makes insurance companies nervous. So how do you spot a money pit with no tools, no ladder, and no permission to open a wall? I am going to give you 12 plumbing red flags you can check during a normal showing, and number 8 can cost more than the other 11 combined. My name is Mark Silverbridge. I have spent 35 years as a master plumber, and a good chunk of that crawling through houses behind buyers who fell in love first and checked the pipes second. This list does not replace a professional inspection. It tells you whether the house even deserves one, and it hands you ammunition for the negotiating table, because every problem you find before closing is money off the price. Every problem you find after closing is simply your problem. Bring your eyes, your ears, and the flashlight on your phone. Run water in every room you walk through. Sellers stage kitchens. Nobody stages a crawl space. Number 1. Stains on ceilings and walls. A brown ring on a ceiling means water traveled somewhere it was never supposed to go, and gravity wrote a report about it. Look hard at the ceilings directly below upstairs bathrooms, because that is where tub and shower leaks show up first. Now, an old dry stain might be a solved problem. What worries me more is the opposite. One ceiling in an otherwise tired house wearing brand new paint. Paint is cheap, and sellers know it. I once opened a ceiling for a buyer and found a bath towel zip tied around a leaking drain hub. The towel was doing the plumbing. So when you see a fresh white square under the only upstairs bathroom, ask the seller directly what leaked, when it was repaired, and who did the work. A patched drywall spot runs a few $100s. A leak that got painted over instead of repaired keeps chewing through the framing until you are into the thousands. And mold does not send an announcement. If the answer to what happened up there sounds vague, write that room down on your list. That list is going to matter later. Number 2. Weak water pressure. Do not just admire the bathroom. Use it. Turn on the sink and the shower at the same time, then flush the toilet while both are running. If the shower falls to a sad little dribble, the house just told on itself. Sometimes the fix is a $5 aerator, the little screen on the faucet tip, packed with grit. You can clear that in 10 minutes. Sometimes the pressure regulator is aged out. That is the bell-shaped brass valve where the water line enters the house, and its whole job is holding city pressure down to something your pipes can live with. Swapping one runs a few $100s with labor. But when every fixture in the house runs weak, on hot and on cold, the pipes themselves become the prime suspect, and I will show you exactly which pipes I mean in red flag number 4. For now, just note it. A healthy home runs somewhere around 40 to 80 pounds per square inch. A dribble always has a cause, and causes have price tags. Number 3. Slow drains. Water should leave a sink with a tight, confident swirl. So let every sink run a full minute and watch what happens on the way out. One lazy drain in one bathroom is usually a local clog, hair and soap scum in the trap, cheap to clear. A whole house of lazy drains is a different animal. If tubs hold water, toilets flush weak, and you hear a gurgle from one drain while another one runs, the trouble sits nowhere near that bathroom. The real problem lives downstream, in the big pipe that carries everything out to the street. And that gurgle matters. Every drain system breathes through a vent pipe that pokes out of the roof, and gurgling means air is getting pulled through water somewhere it should not, which points at a blocked vent or a partial clog in the main. Hold that thought because the main line is number 8, and it is the whole reason I made this video. Number 4. The wrong supply pipe. This is the check that separates people who watched a video from people who bought a disaster. Find the water heater and look at the pipes feeding it. Then open the cabinet under the kitchen sink and look again. 2 materials should make you slow way down. First, gray plastic pipe, usually stamped with the letters PB, often with crimped metal rings at the joints. That is polybutylene, installed in millions of American homes from the late 70s into the mid-90s. Chlorine in city water makes it brittle from the inside. It fails without warning. It triggered one of the biggest class action settlements in housing history, and plenty of insurers will surcharge the policy or walk away from it entirely. Second, galvanized steel, the heavy silver-threaded pipe common in houses built before about 1960. Galvanized rust shut from the inside like a clogged artery, which is why the original owners had strong pressure decades ago, and you get a dribble at the showing. Either material means the honest fix is a whole house repipe in copper or PEX, which is the flexible plastic tubing plumbers use now, and that typically lands between $8,000 and $15,000 depending on the size of the house and where you live. That is not a repair. That is a project. And a written repipe quote in your folder is worth real money at the negotiating table. Number 5. A water heater past its life. Walk up to the tank and find the manufacturer sticker, because the serial number hides the birthday. If the sticker has been peeled off, that tells you something too. A standard tank heater gives you roughly 10 to 12 good years. I have pulled units that were 18, 19 years old and still running strong, but I would never bet a finished basement on one. Look for rust weeping at the fittings on top, crusty white mineral buildup on the connections, and any dampness in the pan underneath. Inside, every tank hangs an anode rod, a sacrificial metal stick that corrodes on purpose so the tank walls do not. Once that rod is gone, the tank is living on borrowed time, like a thermos slowly eating itself. Replacing a standard tank runs about $1,500 to $3,000 installed. So an old heater does not kill the deal. Put it on your list and budget like it dies the month you move in, because water heaters have a sense of humor about timing. Quick pause. Half of these red flags have a cheap fix. I put 50 of those fixes in a book called 50 Easy Plumbing Fixes that will save you $10,000. Every one is a step-by-step repair you can knock out on a Saturday with basic tools, and each shows what a fair quote looks like so nobody overcharges you. The link is in the description. Number 6. Missing shutoff valves. Get down and look under every sink and behind every toilet for a small oval handle on the supply line. Plumbers call these supply stops, and they exist so you can fix a dripping faucet without shutting down the whole house. When they are missing, every future repair, every washer, every wax ring starts with hunting down the main valve and killing water to the entire home. The valves themselves cost maybe $10 to $20 a piece, so the money is nothing. What matters is what missing stops say about whoever plumbed this house, because a person who skips a cheap part inside a wall will skip plenty you cannot see. It is a small flag. Small flags travel in packs. Number 7. Obvious unpermitted work. You are looking for plumbing that feels improvised. White accordion-style flex pipe under a sink where smooth, rigid drain pipe belongs. A drain trap shaped like the letter S diving straight down into the floor, instead of the letter P running sideways into the wall. That S shape can siphon the water seal right out of the trap, and that little slug of water is the only thing standing between your kitchen and the sewer gas below it. Look for little clamp-on saddle valves feeding the ice maker. 5 different materials cobbled together under one sink, fittings running uphill, and a shiny remodeled bathroom with no paperwork behind it. If the seller finished a basement bathroom, ask to see the permit. and watch the face across the table while you ask. Amateur drain work hides amateur everything else. Which brings us to the pipe every amateur forgets exists, and the most expensive dirt on the property. Number 8. The sewer line. Everything every drain in the house carries ends up in one buried pipe running from the foundation out to the city main. And that pipe is the single most expensive repair in residential plumbing. Age and material decide everything. Houses from before about 1980 often ran clay pipe, which comes in short sections with a joint every few feet. And every joint is an invitation. From the 40s into the early 70s, plenty of builders used a product called Orangeburg, which sounds sturdy and is basically wood pulp pressed with tar. It goes egg-shaped under the weight of the soil, and then it collapses. Older cast iron rots along the bottom like a canoe wearing through. Now the numbers, because this is the part that changes deals. Digging up and replacing a failed sewer commonly lands between $8,000 and $25,000. And when the line runs under a driveway or a public street, I have watched bills sail well past that. Even the no-dig lining methods, where a new sleeve gets cured inside the old pipe, usually start in the $4,000 to $8,000 range. That is the bad news. The good news costs $200 to $400. A plumber will run a camera down the line and show you the truth on a screen, joint by joint. That sewer scope is the best money you will ever spend on a house you do not own yet. If it comes back clean, sleep easy. If it shows cracks, roots, or a belly holding standing water, you just earned a 5-figure credit at the negotiating table, or the clearest reason you will ever get to walk away. Oh, number 9. Big trees standing over the line. Walk the yard between the house and the street and look up. A beautiful mature oak or a thirsty willow parked on top of a 60-year-old clay sewer amounts to a slow-motion excavation. Roots do not smash pipes like a movie monster. They find a hairline gape at a joint, slip in a feeler the width of a hair, and start drinking. A year later, that feeler is a rope, and the rope is a net catching everything the house flushes. Clearing roots with a cutting machine runs a couple $100 a visit, and on a bad line it becomes a subscription. Twice a year, every year, forever. Mature trees over old pipe make the camera from number 8 non-negotiable. And stick around after number 12, because I will give you a free 10-minute test that catches leaks no walkthrough will ever show you. Number 10. Crusty corroded fittings. Shine your phone light on the copper joints under the sinks, around the water heater, and along any exposed pipe in the basement. Green or white crust growing on a joint is the mineral trail of a leak, either one that sealed itself for now or one still seeping a drop at a time. A single crusty fitting in a 50-year-old house is a maintenance item, and honestly, my own basement has one or two. Crust blooming on joint after joint after joint is different. That pattern says the water itself is aggressive, quietly eating the system from the inside, and the fittings are simply where it shows first. One is a repair. Everywhere is a countdown. Number 11. Mismatched pipe patches. Follow a water line across the basement ceiling and count the materials. When copper turns into steel, jumps to a stretch of plastic, then finishes through a rubber sleeve with 2 hose clamps, you are looking at a timeline of emergencies. Because every splice marks a night something burst and somebody grabbed whatever the hardware store had left. There is a bonus problem hiding in those joints. Copper touching steel directly forms a tiny battery, and that little current chews up the steel side years ahead of schedule. The trade prevents it with a special fitting called a dielectric union, and weekend patch jobs almost never include one. 1 splice is a repair. 5 splices in a single run is a pattern. And patterns on the supply side send you straight back to red flag number 4. Number 12. Evidence of a past flood. Basements confess if you listen. Smell first. Musty air that hits you on the stairs is history talking. Then look low. Brand new drywall on only the bottom couple feet of the walls. Paint that stops in a tidy horizontal line. Baseboards newer than the room they live in. Then check the metal. A faint rust line across the legs of the furnace or the base of the water heater marks exactly how deep the water stood. Like a bathtub ring for the whole basement. White powdery bloom on the block walls, which the trade calls efflorescence, is minerals left behind by moisture pushing through from outside. Find the sump pump if there is one. A clean pump in a dry pit is a good sign. A pump floating in murky water with a garden hose run out a window is a habit. Then ask the seller straight out whether the house has ever taken water and whether an insurance claim was filed, because claims leave a paper trail you can request. The house already told you the truth. Now see if the seller does. So what do you do with all 12? This is the plain framework I give my own family. Sort your list into 3 buckets: cosmetic, system, and catastrophic. Cosmetic covers old dry stains, missing supply stops, a crusty fitting or 2. You can knock those out yourself for a few $100s total, and my book walks you through most of them. System covers polybutylene, galvanized pipe, and a geriatric water heater. Real money. Call it $5,000 to $20,000 across the board, but predictable, quotable, and fixable. Catastrophic covers a failed sewer and a basement that takes on water, because those carry costs you cannot cap from the surface. Then follow 2 rules. Rule 1. Get written quotes on the system bucket and ask for that number off the price or in seller credits. Sellers argue with feelings. They have a much harder time arguing with a licensed bid. Rule 2. Never close on a catastrophic flag without a scope, a plan, and a number in writing. If the seller blocks the camera, that is your answer. There are always other houses. There is only one savings account with your name on it. Before you go, the free test I promised. It is called the meter test, and it costs nothing but 10 quiet minutes. Shut off every faucet and every appliance that uses water. Then find the water meter, usually in a concrete box near the street or on the basement wall, and watch the small spinning triangle or star on the dial. That little wheel is a leak detector the water company gave you for free. With everything off, it should sit dead still. If it creeps, water is leaving the system somewhere. A silently running toilet, a failing valve, or the one you really care about before buying, a supply line seeping under the concrete slab where no walk-through will ever reach. 10 minutes at that meter can tell you more about a house than an hour spent touring the bedrooms. You walked into this video with a 30-minute showing and a candle burning on the counter. Now you know where the money actually hides. Under the fresh paint, inside the gray pipe, at the bottom of a 60-year-old clay line nobody has looked at in decades. The buyers who lose are the ones who only check the countertops. You are not one of them anymore. One last thing. Every house breaks something eventually. My book, 50 Easy Plumbing, fixes that will save you $10,000, shows which repairs you can safely do yourself and which need a pro, so the savings stack for years. It is at the link in the description. And subscribe to the Mark Silverbridge channel for more honest, no-nonsense plumbing advice that keeps your money in your pocket.